Okay, Luka Doncic made his debut. How good was he? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about LeBron. Let's talk about the Jazz. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys. So Luka Doncic, game one with LeBron James is in the books, and it looked pretty good. Now, I think you got to ask yourself a few things. Utah looked terrible. I know if you're a Laker fan watching this, you've got to be excited, and rightfully so. They looked really good tonight against Utah. If I'm a Laker fan, I'm excited because they came out with just incredible energy. This move has obviously put some juice into this Lakers team. They looked fresh. They had energy. They played well. They were knocking down shots. They looked comfortable. They looked fantastic. Tonight, LeBron James was just vintage LeBron James. Look at that. 58 from the field, 42% from three, 24 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. He was phenomenal. I don't even think the numbers really tell you how good he was. And then, of course, the one everyone was interested to watch tonight, Luka Doncic. He plays just 23 minutes. He looked actually, honestly, a little bit rusty. The fact that the Lakers got a rusty Luka Doncic, he was just 35% from the field, 1 for 7 from 3. He did put in 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and they just looked pretty phenomenal, honestly. They were just, I guess that's what I took away from this as far as the Lakers go. And by the way, this is a Jazz postgame show. Probably not going to be as long a show tonight because there was not a lot of positive things for the Jazz. But for the Lakers, if you're a Laker fan, congrats. You have Luka Doncic playing with LeBron James, and you better appreciate it while you can because LeBron James is 40, so you never know how long this will be. So appreciate every moment you got. With LeBron and Luka together, it's pretty interesting stuff. It was fun to watch them. Watching the game, I mean, you could kind of see, and it made a little sense what was going to happen, but you had multiple pick and roll options going. I think teams are going to kind of watch this game and obviously more to kind of see how to guard it. You're probably going to try to turn Luka Doncic into a three-point shooter as best you can, but the thing is, that what makes Luka Doncic great and what makes LeBron James great is their ability to get the shot they want. Doesn't matter what you do. And that's what both of them are great at. And that's what's going to happen. Luka Doncic is going to get the shot he wants. If you kick it out to Luka Doncic at the three-point line, he's not going to just turn into a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. If that's not the shot he wants, the thing about Luka Doncic is he is patient. He knows he can get what he wants. He's going to get to his spots and do his thing. So it's going to be an interesting season. The Lakers, Laker fans, congrats. You got to be excited. I did not know what this was going to look like. I had some questions about the defense, but the defense looked good. So pretty nice outing for the Lakers. We'll see if Jackson Hayes can hold up, but man, playing with LeBron and Luka certainly might make Jackson Hayes a little bit of money. It might make him look a little better than he is. And I guess that's what Luka and LeBron do. They make other players on their team look better. All right, let's talk about the Jazz. We've given the Lakers their flowers. Luka Doncic and LeBron playing together is about as interesting a thing as you're going to see. For the Utah Jazz, this might be the worst they've played all season, and I'm not exaggerating. They were so bad. They ended the game pulling it within, what was it, like 20? What is that? 23, 30, within 19. They were down by like 35 at one point, and that's more appropriate with how they played. I don't think a single player on the Jazz played well tonight, and I don't even care about their numbers. I guess John Collins maybe, but you look at the 5 turnovers, I still can't believe that as a big, John Collins still continues to turn the ball over as much as he does. Lauri Markkanen, 1 for 8 from 3. And I guess as far as what I think, and some people complained that I talked for 20 minutes. It's an hour-long show the last time I talked on a Jazz loss. And people are frustrated because I talked about tanking. Well, guess what? Tonight is why. If you thought the Jazz were close to championship contention, I hope you watched tonight. And it's why in games like the ones before where Utah's close, it makes no sense for Utah to even be close in some of these games. It makes no sense that the Jazz are even flirting with New Orleans in this number 2 spot. There is just no reason for Utah to be screwing around with that. Utah should be pushing for that number 1 spot come lottery night, so they get no less than a number 5 pick in this draft. And tonight was the example why. Because this Jazz team is not there yet. Not even close. Not close. Tonight was a playoff atmosphere in that everyone was watching. LeBron James absolutely brought it tonight. Luka Doncic was excited to play. Everyone on the Lakers brought their A game. And Utah wasn't even remotely close, remotely ready. So anyone who thinks that, and I've even fallen into the trap myself, so I also am guilty of this. But thinking that the Jazz are close to competing next year, no, not close, not close. Tonight was playoff atmosphere, and we saw where Utah's at, and it was not there. Lauri Markkanen, 1 for 8 from 3. This is a max player for Utah, or at least a semi-max. And it's just not happening the way you'd want. And Utah loses by like 35. I don't care if Lauri Markkanen is hitting his threes and looking really nice and Utah loses by 15, great. We're just not seeing it, and it's been like all season. And he has some moments. He had a blocked shot on LeBron. He hit a few little mid-rangers that he's struggled to hit all season. But overall, it's not what you want to see. And I have to say, like, Utah seems to be trying to build this thing upside down, where they're trying to fill all the role players and then try to find that superstar to fit in the middle. It just doesn't really work that way, and I don't think long-term this is the best way to do it. And I think if the Jazz try to keep doing it this way, they're going to just get burnt and prolong this thing. Had they just tore it completely down 2 years ago, we'd be in year 3 of this and filling this team with young talent. And maybe you would be at a certain point. If you have Amen Thompson and Stephon Castle and you get a Cooper Flag, then maybe you do think about starting to build and put veterans around those players. But not right now. Instead, Utah has Lauri Markkanen, who is just 1 year, older or younger than, someone mentioned it in the playback. He's like 1 year younger than Simone Fontecchio, who the Jazz traded away for being too old of a rookie or whatever. Markkanen's getting up there. And to think that this Utah Jazz team is close and Markkanen at that age is just, I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes the truth hurts. And tonight hurt. Tonight was painful. It was painful. So there's some truth serum that the Jazz took tonight. And I hope Ryan Smith and the front office were watching, because we're not there yet. We don't have a cornerstone. And you don't build the framing of the house before you pour the basement, okay? You need a foundation before you build the house, right? The Jazz are trying to build a house and then fit the foundation underneath, and it's just not how it works. That's just not how it's done. It's just not how it's done. And you can just tell, you can just see that the Jazz are probably thinking that they can kind of make things work if they get a top pick in this draft and, have Markkanen and Kessler and whatever. Well, you know what? They looked pretty terrible tonight. And there have been times where, they've had some nice games against some mid-level teams. And then you have nights like tonight where you go against a team that was playing at the peak of its powers, and it was not even remotely close. It was not even remotely competitive at any point tonight. It just wasn't. And not a single player, you guys know I love Key. He did not look great tonight. And he started off a little bit and then just played poorly. I was excited to watch Isaiah Collier tonight, who, funnily enough, ended up with 10 assists again. But he was so tentative and just not there. Markkanen, 1 for 8 from 3. Can't hit a 3. I don't get it. John Collins probably played the best of this whole team. And he has 5 turnovers as a big. I don't understand how that happens. It's crazy. That's the one thing, outside of some defensive efficiencies, I don't know what it is, but John Collins turns over the ball more than any other big I've seen. And that includes like Rudy Gobert, who has the ability to hold on to the ball like terrible. It's bad. And so John Collins comes out here and does this. Pretty terrible. Guys, the show tonight is the Jazz play bad. Jazz bad, Luka good, the end. Everyone put out your candles for Cooper Flag, okay? Walker Kessler, if you didn't watch the game tonight and you look at his stat line, you'll think it was good. He was terrible. He was terrible tonight. He was a -26. He was the worst plus-minus of anyone on the team, and it checks out. He was so bad. On a night where I thought he might dominate, he was terrible. And maybe that's because the Jazz just didn't quite know what to make of this Laker team, and so I guess you got to take some of this stuff with a grain of salt, because it is the first time Luka Doncic is on the floor with LeBron James. You have really not a lot of ideas of how things are going to look, what system they're going to run, and blah, blah, blah. That said, you would think that Walker Kessler would do better against Jackson Hayes, and he did not. It was bad. It was really bad. And the Lakers just looked like they knew how to play against a drop coverage. When you're playing multiple times tonight, got Walker Kessler out of the paint, had him on LeBron James. LeBron played incredible, and then just diced the Jazz up. And not a great sign, guys. Not a great sign. Doesn't mean that it's all Walker's fault. It does make you think that maybe Utah building around a drop coverage again might not be the way to go. It works in some situations, and maybe if you get Cooper Flag, maybe if Taylor Hendricks develops, then who knows? Possibly. Because then you have good defenders on the back line. But man, tonight was bad, and just not great, guys. Just not great. But yeah, I gotta say, guys, I don't think anyone on this team is untradeable. I think that's basically what I'd take. Obviously that it's going to take the right amount to get these players from Utah, but holy smokes, did this team look shell-shocked. Jordan Clarkson, kind of, I don't know, 6 for 15. He took I guess Markkanen took 18 shots, but second most shots for this team was Jordan Clarkson. He was 40% from the field, 30% from 3. It's a little bit more of the Jordan Clarkson we're used to when you're playing against a good team, and these are the types of numbers he puts up. And he'll have great numbers against bad teams and bad numbers against good teams, and it's probably why a lot of teams didn't want to give a lot for Jordan Clarkson, because this is what happens. So it is what it is. -20. Isaiah Collier, I was so bummed. I was so excited to watch Collier tonight. I was so excited. And the 10 assists are nice, but they're a little deceiving because they came later in the game. And I guess throughout the game, he did play 32 minutes, so that's nice to see. Collier, even in a bad game, he just did not play particularly great. I guess I should say he just did not play aggressively, which was disappointing. He ended up actually getting sat a little early by Will Hardy. They had Keontae George who came in, and he actually, at least in the first quarter, Key looked a little comfortable and did start distributing it, but then just played poorly the rest of the game. 8 assists for Key, 10 assists for Collier. But Utah just, it was bad, guys. I don't know. There's not a lot of analysis tonight other than the Jazz just played extremely poorly. If you just look at the Jazz 3-point percentage as a team, they shot 30%, while the Lakers shot 35% and just destroyed Utah. 54% from the field for the Lakers, 46% for the Jazz. Just looking at these numbers, 19 turnovers for Utah, 11 for the Lakers. The Lakers had tied with rebounds. It's just Utah just got their butts kicked. It really was just, they got shellacked. And you got to give it to the Lakers. They brought just the juice, and Utah did not. Utah did not play good defense and just really, really sucked. And these numbers are deceiving because a lot of this was in garbage time. This game was over by like midway through the second quarter. It was pretty brutal. But anyways, Isaiah Collier, I was disappointed because he wasn't aggressive from the start, and I wonder if it was a little bit of like starry-eyed playing against LeBron. And I'm sure Isaiah Collier has at least a little bit of familiarity with LeBron because he played with Bronny at USC, and I'm sure he's talked with LeBron multiple times. LeBron obviously has probably gone to a bunch of USC games and things like that, and maybe even been in the locker room, whatever. Still, Isaiah Collier looked so tentative and looked so like he deferred. Maybe it's being on the floor with Bronny. Bronny might be Isaiah Collier kryptonite. Keep Bronny away from Isaiah Collier, because it doesn't go very well. But I am happy to see the 10 assists. I think Collier is one of the more core pieces going forward because we've just seen a guy that consistently does some nice things. Tonight was not super impressive. And, if you're just a box score watcher, you'd be like, well, what about 13 points and 10 assists? Well, if you watched the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. Keontae George, 2 for 9 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. Just poor. 8 assists is nice, though. 8 assists is nice, but 5 turnovers. It was a tough go for Keontae. 11 points, 8 assists. Rough. Guys, it was rough across the board. I don't really think a single player on the Jazz played well. Like, not a single one. It was bad. This was not great. 32 minutes, pretty rough, and Utah's got more to go. But I guess if there's a silver lining, Utah is in the number 2 spot in the lottery and has a chance for Cooper Flag. And so you got to be happy with that at least. Or at least number 3 spot. Micah Potter, I don't know why Micah Potter is playing over Filipowski at this point. And Filipowski got 9 minutes, but can we give these 5 Micah Potter minutes to Filipowski? I know it doesn't matter that much, to be honest, but I would like to see a little more minutes to Filipowski than Micah Potter. Bryce Sensabaugh played 12 minutes in this one. It's funny, he only took 1 shot. It was not great. I don't know what to think of Bryce Sensabaugh at this point. It's up and down, up and down. You just probably got to keep developing him because he does have that jump shot and he has shown some things, but it's been a little rough as the season's gone on. So we'll see. Johnny Juzang played 17 minutes tonight. I guess maybe you could argue he's one of the better players, but man, I guess the numbers are deceiving as well because Juzang came in, just missed every 3 he took. Those 3s he made were later in the game during garbage time. When the lights were bright and the pressure was on, it was not going down. So kind of tough thing. 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, I think. Is that what that is? Yeah. Filipowski, like I said, 950 should be getting more minutes. I don't know why Micah Potter's getting more minutes over Filipowski, but maybe we see some changes here soon. But he was 2 for 3 from 3, 9 points. He was a plus 13. I guess that's garbage time, but that's something. Maybe Filipowski played the best of anyone. I don't know. And then we had an Elijah Harkless show for 2 minutes. Guys, that's all I got tonight. I was honestly disappointed because I wanted to see some shine from our guys, and they did not. It was the opposite. So, what I'm left, my impression is I was right. Sorry. I know everyone who watches this. Oh, great job. Pat yourself on the back. Well, this is why I was so frustrated before. We should not be winning games against bad teams because when we're playing against teams playing at this level, like the Lakers did tonight, Utah was not even close. Not even close. And in some ways, it's just high-level talent. Utah needs a couple superstars if they want to get to that level. Because guess what? The Lakers have it. They got LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Utah doesn't have a superstar. They don't. And you need that. And to win in this league, you've got to have top-end elite talent to win. And so Utah is absolutely doing the right thing. The silver lining is Utah is not doing this too late. They started the season and did it the right way for the most part. There's been a few times where I've wondered what the heck the Jazz are doing. But for the most part, you can't be too frustrated. As long as Utah pays attention to this and loses, honestly, every game for the rest of the season, Utah needs to compete for Cooper Flag because there's other teams competing really hard to pass Utah up. Charlotte, Toronto, Brooklyn, Utah is not going to fall out of this probably bottom 4. Very unlikely. But Utah needs to be going to this 2 or 1 spot if they can. They really need Cooper Flag or Dylan Harper or someone like that. And then honestly, they need AJ DeBonsa next year, or Darren Peterson, or Cam Boozer. Because once you get if you get two guys of that caliber, then you start building. Then you start getting excited. But right now, Utah's got a lot of guys that show some signs, but we have not seen a superstar yet. And yeah, I like a lot of the different things that this Jazz team shows, but there's a lot of that is left to desire, and honestly, especially on the defensive end. So tough go tonight, but it is what it is, and this is leading towards the lottery, which is what Utah needs to do anyway. So, all right, guys, let's see what would happen if the lottery was today. And by the way, if you're new here, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Did it just cut out? I don't care. All right, let's see. If the lottery was today, let's see what would happen. In fact, let's go to the mock draft here. By the way, if there's another silver lining, it's that the Minnesota Timberwolves lost. Dropped to 17, baby. All right, let's see. If the lottery was today, what would happen? Boom! Utah gets Cooper Flag. Yeah, baby. And Hugo Gonzalez, the 6'6" prospect from Spain. Guess what, guys? That's your silver lining. Utah gets Cooper Flag. The first step towards long-term winning in Utah. Cooper Flag, baby. Yes, sir. 6'9", phenom. The main event coming to Utah, baby. All right. All right, guys. What a nice little end to the night. For all the crumb it was that the Jazz get smoked by the Lakers, at least we end up with Cooper Flag. So there you go. All right, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars tonight. Let's give a shout out to Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel, I Believe in Steve Jazz Exile, Ryan Edward Perry the Legend, Baby Elliott Madsen, See Ya Alexa Later, Christian House Money to Haas, Jordan the Goat Festival, Austin R. Grant Editor Extraordinaire, KG10 to TH5, and Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like to support the channel, please join. I would appreciate it.